Morgan Wallen has been in trouble with the law more than once, but when he threw a chair off a roof and nearly crushed a cop with it, he finally went too far. Morgan Wallen and a few pals were bar hopping in Nashville in May 2020 and wound up at Kid Rock's big-ass honky-tonk rock and roll steakhouse. The party got a little too wild and Wallen allegedly kicked some glass objects, which led him to get unceremoniously thrown out the bar. Out on the street, Wallen reportedly harassed people who were walking by, engaging in verbal altercations with them. Police officers intervened and encouraged Wallen to move on, but he didn't. Determining the intoxicated country singer was a danger to himself and the public, officers eventually placed him in custody. He was charged with public intoxication and disorderly conduct. The official arrest warrant noted, officers gave Wallen several opportunities to walk away with his friends, but he refused to walk away. Wallen responded to his arrest in a since-deleted tweet saying, "After a couple bar stops, we were horseplaying with each other. We didn't mean any harm."
I'm going to be completely honest, the whole night is pretty fuzzy to me.
When Wallen appeared in court a few months later, all the charges were dropped, and Wallen and Kid Rock apparently are back on good terms. In October 2020, Morgan Wallen was announced as musical guest on Saturday Night Live, a breakout performance that promised to catapult him from country music stardom into the mainstream. Instead, his appearance was canceled. At that time, the show had just returned to its iconic Rockefeller Center studio for the first time in more than 6 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Days before his scheduled appearance, social media videos revealed Morgan attending a crowded party. No face masks in sight. Given SNL's strict safety protocols, executive producer Lorne Michaels had no choice but to cancel Wallen's appearance, booking Jack White as a last-minute replacement.
We're just living in a different time and everything is scrutinized.
Wallen responded in a since-deleted Instagram video displaying both disappointment and acknowledgement that he'd screwed up. He said, "My actions this past weekend were pretty short-sighted. I respect the show's decision because I know that I put them in jeopardy. I take ownership for this." Wallen finally made his SNL debut in December 2020. He even appeared in a sketch poking fun at the whole situation, with host Jason Bateman portraying Wallen from the future, who'd returned to that fateful party to warn himself of the repercussions. Saturday Night Live wasn't the only gig affected by Wallen's ill-advised night of maskless partying. He had also been scheduled to headline the Rome River Jam in Rome, Georgia, the prior evening. Instead, he had to cancel that performance as well, stating in a now-deleted apology video on Instagram that he needed to take some time off to work on Me. The festival, noted Billboard, was a unique and experimental event meant to revive live music performance after months of pandemic shutdown. Fans came together while remaining socially distanced from each other, watching the performers from within their own individual pods, while stringent safety guidelines had been put in place, guidelines which Wallen had clearly ignored. Wallen was replaced as headliner by Lee Brice. A message from the festival stated, "Morgan Wallen's performance at Rome River Jam will be rescheduled to May 1st, 2021. All purchased tickets will be honored for this date. On behalf of Morgan and his team, we sincerely apologize." As it turned out, Morgan Wallen's Saturday Night Live controversy was just a warm-up for a far bigger scandal. In early 2021, TMZ shared a shocking video of Wallen that had been captured on a neighbor's security camera as he and a group of friends returned to his home, apparently intoxicated. At one point, Wallen can clearly be heard using the N-word. It didn't take long for Wallen to become engulfed in backlash, with numerous fellow country stars, including Mickey Guyton, blasting him on social media. Wallen quickly apologized in a statement saying, "I'm embarrassed and sorry. I want to sincerely apologize for using the word. I promise to do better." That did little to quell the outrage, so he attempted to explain his actions in a video he posted to Instagram where he blamed alcohol, saying, "The video you saw was me on hour 72 of a bender, and that's not something I'm proud of either."
When I do start drinking, it can get a little muddy.
He also felt industry repercussions when numerous radio conglomerates throughout the U.S. pulled his music from their stations, a lengthy list that included the country's largest group of radio stations, iHeartMedia. To make matters worse, his record label Big Loud tweeted, "In the wake of recent events, Big Loud Records has made the decision to suspend Morgan Wallen's recording contract indefinitely." By October of 2021, the controversy surrounding Wallen's racist language was still swirling, leading the producers of the American Music Awards to announce that he was banned from attending the show, even though he was nominated for 2 awards. A statement from the production company read in part, "As his conduct does not align with our core values, we will not be including him on the show in any capacity." However, the statement said that Wallen might be invited to future AMAs, provided he'd taken the appropriate steps. "We plan to evaluate his progress in doing meaningful work work as an ally to the Black community and will consider his participation in future shows. The following year, Diddy was announced as host and producer of the Billboard Music Awards, and he decreed that Wallen was welcome to attend the show, saying, "We're uncanceling the canceled. I'm here to forgive, to unify, to celebrate, and to have everybody be free." In hindsight, given the disturbing allegations against Diddy, which later came to light, being uncanceled by him isn't necessarily great either. Morgan Wallen became a father in 2020 with the arrival of his son Indigo. He identified the mother of his child as KT Smith. Fans at the time were curious about their relationship status. As it turned out, they'd already broken up by the time Indy was born. As for what split up their relationship, Smith told all in a 2021 blog post. As she recalled, they began chatting via Snapchat and started seeing each other in 2016. Morgan popped the question fairly early on in their relationship, but their engagement didn't last long. Smith wrote, "We broke off the engagement but still dated consistently for about 2 years, living with one another for about 3. But that third year was rocky, the kind of toxic trauma bond you hear about on TikTok." She described their relationship as being off and on and blamed their eventual breakup on his stratospheric rise to stardom during that period. Being thrown into the spotlight at such a young age is obviously going to come with some bad decisions. He wasn't the most faithful. Co-parenting with Morgan at the beginning was extremely difficult because it was very new to both of us and I was still bitter towards him. KT Smith's allegation that Morgan Wallen cheated on her over the course of their relationship aligns with strikingly similar claims from another woman that he dated. In February 2022, Page Six reported that Wallen and model Paige Lorenz had split after dating for approximately a year. A source told the outlet she suspected he was cheating on her with multiple people. After they went public, Paige started getting all these messages on Instagram from girls saying, "I was with him, we slept together." Shortly after that report, Lorenz herself seemingly confirmed those claims in a cryptic message apparently referencing Wallen's infidelity. In an Instagram story she shared, "One of the most underrated ingredients for having a good life is a clear conscience. To know you aren't out here doing people wrong and hiding who you are lets you sleep peaceful at night. Karma is real. Energy is contagious." If Lorenz's name seems familiar, it may be because in 2021, she publicly accused ex-boyfriend Armie Hammer of cannibalism, which at least puts Wallen's unsavory behavior in perspective.
You would say, "Oh, I want to remove your ribs. We're going to find a doctor in LA. And I want to smoke them and eat them."
In spring 2023, fans assembled at the Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi to watch Morgan Wallen in concert. Minutes before the show was scheduled to start, however, a message flashed on the venue's video screens to announce the show had been canceled. It read, "Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately Morgan has lost his voice and is unable to perform tonight." Fans were offered a refund for the ticket price. The local law firm, Kilpatrick & Philly, advised fans not to accept the refund that was offered. Writing in a Facebook post, "A refund of the ticket price is insufficient to compensate us for our actual out-of-pocket expense." Irked concert-goer Brandy Burcham took the legal advice and sued. According to Page Six, her lawsuit declared, "Even if ticket prices are refunded, no offer has been made to reimburse concert-goers for other out-of-pocket expenses they incurred in connection with the concert cancellation, including transportation, lodging, food, merchandise sales, transaction fees, and other such expenses." Burcham withdrew her suit, but only her attorneys explained because they planned to refile it as a class action suit representing all the concert-goers affected. The plot thickened when a TikTok video emerged in which a security guard at the venue claimed Wallen was too inebriated to perform and had to be taken out of the venue in an ambulance. The company that employed that guard later issued a statement via Instagram story dismissing his comments as false claims. Wallen has clearly been in trouble with both the law and the court of public opinion over the years, but things got seriously out of control in April 2024. According to reports, Wallen was on the rooftop bar of Chiefs, the Nashville establishment owned by country music star Eric Church, when he threw a chair off the side of the 6-story building and then laughed about it. When the chair crashed to the street below, it narrowly avoided hitting 2 Nashville police officers who were on the sidewalk below. Wallen was placed under arrest and charged with several felony counts, with the seriousness of the charges belied by Wallen's smiling face in the mugshot taken after his arrest. He was subsequently released from jail on a $15,250 bond. Wallen's lawyer, Warwick Robinson, declared in a statement, he is cooperating fully with authorities. Legal expert David Rabin told People that the charges against Wallen were no joke and could result in a maximum of 6 years in prison. However, Rabin didn't believe he'd actually wind up serving that much time. Rabin said, it's probably a maximum of 2 years assuming he was not put on probation. Meanwhile, the folks running Church's rooftop bar, Rodney Scott's Whole Hog Rooftop Barbecue, altered the marquee after the incident. According to a photo posted on Facebook, the sign boasted the tongue-in-cheek addition, "Our pigs fly, our chairs don't." When examining the various incidents that have demonstrated the shady side of Morgan Wallen, one element seems to be interwoven throughout many of them: alcohol. Wallen has acknowledged his own curiosity over whether he may have issues with substance abuse, something he addressed when he appeared on Good Morning America to address his drunken use of a racial slur back in 2021. During that interview, Wallen revealed that he checked himself into rehab. He mused, "For 30 days, I spent some time out in San Diego, California, just trying to figure it out. Why am I acting this way? Do I have an alcohol problem? Do I have a deeper issue?" Since then, Wallen has never said much more about the subject beyond that. However, an anonymous source purporting to have insider insight into the situation told people that Wallen's love of a good time may have gotten out of control. Morgan is generally a nice, fun person to hang out with, but when he gets going, he doesn't know when to stop. Morgan and alcohol is a problem, and it's been a problem that keeps coming back around.